Well, thanks for hanging out with me this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be here.
I know we see each other in the office all the time, but we don't get the opportunity just to have a conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to just spending a little time together.
Yeah, same. Absolutely. And just learning a little bit more about you, outside of what we do at UIndy, just really kind of learning a little bit more about who you are as Kim Pate.
Yeah, likewise. So, okay, I have to open us up. I noticed your sneakers. I know not everybody can see them, but I was really digging your sneakers. Sneakers with a suit. I love that. Talk a little bit about your style.
Oh man, that just kind of varies day to day. Typically, I'm just like a sneaker person. Like with a jean, I wear it with a suit. Like doesn't matter. I want to be comfortable, cozy, even though I am a little bit vertically challenged, and like a little heel would maybe give me some more height. Definitely go comfort over anything, and of course a sneaker with a suit is absolutely on trend, thanks to people like Dawn Staley who make it look incredible. So yeah, I fancy myself a little bit of a sneakerhead, but not as bad as whenever I was in high school and had 91 pairs of sneakers. So we really pared that down.
So you have this shoe fetish thing where you collected.
Yes, I did.
I've met people like you.
Yeah, I wasn't the type that had them in a box though. I actually used
you wore
them.
Yeah.
I did, but I was also the type that would clean them every single time that I wore them. But yeah, I always fancied myself a pair of sneakers because they're just comfortable and you can make anything look good with them.
So I just got my first set of Nike, like low blazers or something. They're just a low profile sneaker. So.
Okay, what color?
White with gray. And black, like the swoosh is black.
Love that. A little contrast in there. So you are the type of person that can wear a white shoe. I am not that person. I'm like, I need a color, because I feel like immediately my dog's gonna step on my shoe and just get a muddy paw right on it. So I've got to stay with the color, but I do love a gum sole. Are you a gum sole fan?
No, I'm not sure that I've ever.
The brown sole? So,
yeah.
So you know what it is.
So like a retro look?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, love those.
So I have a almost 14-year-old, my daughter, only child, but she schools me up a little bit on fashion and shoes, and it's really helpful.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt that we work in college athletics, so they're always showing us what the latest are too.
Absolutely.
So that's certainly helpful. Be like, dang, those are super fly shoes. Like, where can I get some of those? Be like, nice NMDs or nice boosts. Like, I love it.
So we both arrived in our roles from a different path. I've heard a little bit about your path, but remind me how you ended up working in college athletics.
Oh man, mine definitely was not a linear. It wasn't like, I know I want to be in college athletics. So out of college, I actually had intended to do AmeriCorps. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So right out of college, I was like, all right, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to do a year of service, just like kind of give back to my country, my community. But unfortunately, my grandma had a stroke, so it put those plans on hold. She's fully recovered. She's just as vibrant as she ever has been at 79 years old. So I just kind of got into the workforce. I was working at a company that I actually did my internship with because I was a marketing major in college, so did some external marketing for them for a couple of years. Found myself in outside sales, peddling copy paper for Staples, which was a really unique opportunity. But then kind of got to a spot where I was like, okay, it's time for me to really reinvigorate and dig into this passion for service and giving to other people that I have. So I decided at the age of 25 that now was the time that I was going to do my AmeriCorps service. So I did 1 year of service with NCCC, which is a National Civilian Community Corps, as a team leader of 10, 18 to 22-year-olds, and we did service projects from Baltimore down to New Orleans, and just traveled
all over this country.
Yeah, all over it. And then from there I was like, you know what, I'm not ready to stop with this, and I want to do something totally different. So I applied to the Montana Conservation Corps, and I was a crew leader with my co-leader, who we led a team of 6 folks, and we worked for Forest Service, Park Service, and built trails in the wilderness for a year. So that's kind of where my passion and love for the outdoors also stemmed from. But after that term of service ended, I found myself in a spot where it was like, okay, what am I going to do next? And I traveled all around the country and found myself in New Orleans because I just love it there so much, and was volunteering down there. And then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, student loan payments are due, so we need to find a job. So a friend of mine worked in college admissions at a school in Indianapolis, and I ended up getting on there and stayed for 5 years until that service piece of me kicked back in. And then a job that opened up in the Montana Conservation Corps again as a program manager in Helena, Montana. And I applied for it and landed the job. And then I ran basically all of the programming for 200 members and leaders. So everything from the actual trail training side of things to the technical skills to first aid, and did all of that for a year. And I was like, man, I'm 1,700 miles from my family and like the community that I built in Indianapolis. So I ended up back here. And then from there, a job opened up at UIndy, and I was like, oh, well, this looks good. I transitioned to the academic side at my previous place. And I was like, this is a natural progression. So I started working in the Center for Advising. And I was working with all of the Shaheen College of Arts and Sciences majors. And then a year later, just a shy under of a year, when Dr. Sue Willey was our athletic director, the position opened up to work in athletics. And I found out about it and immediately ran over to her office and knocked on her door and introduced myself and expressed my interest in the position. Because I was a former student athlete. I know the struggles, the rigor, the dedication and time management that goes into it, and just can really relate, and just, again, that passion for helping other folks realize their dreams and just being a support system for them. So ended up getting the job, and then here we are sitting 5 years later since I've joined the athletic team. So again, not linear.
What an amazing background. Like I love it. And it tells me a lot about you.
Yeah.
You know, because I know you like to travel, and I could just feel that, you know, you enjoy just going exploring, and so that connects the dots for me.
Yeah, you'll start to hear, the more that you learn about me, like you'll hear about my stories of like, I'm going to go stay in the woods for a week and take my dog and we're going to go camping, or we're going paddle boarding. I just love being outside. I mean, I just truly feel like the best version of myself whenever I'm just out there, and just it feels so good to be immersed in the nature.
Yeah. I can relate. I spent 21 years in the Brevard area in North Carolina. It's in the Pisgah National Forest. Literally, I think 2/3 of the county is national forest or state forest. So I was not an outdoorsy person when I got there, but just being immersed in it. It's just so beautiful, and I got into like hiking, and next thing you know, my fiance at the time took me like fly fishing and things like that, things I'd never done, you know, and so he introduced the outdoors to me to some extent, and then I got to where like I had to go for my trail walk or run.
Yes.
So I do miss the outdoors. I've got to find it here in Indianapolis.
I can help you.
Okay.
I can help you find it here. We got some pretty good parks around the city, and some places that aren't very far that you can go and feel that. But of course, there's not the mountains that there are in Pisgah, but it's truly such a beautiful part of the country. I mean, I love going down there too. So I can imagine how you feel about that for sure. Well, what about you? What's your story? How did you get to this chair?
Well, it's not a traditional path, and I think I attribute it to really a calling, you know, that I discovered when I was a college student athlete. So back to Brevard, North Carolina, I went to high school there, and then I graduated. Long story short, I'm from Canada. I was born there. It's where all my family was, except my mom. My mom brought me to North Carolina. So I went back to Canada, and I realized that my life had sort of blossomed in North Carolina, and like my friends, and so I went back, and but I didn't have the opportunity maybe for like college from a, you know, federal aid or state aid, or because I was still Canadian.
Yeah.
So I went to, you know, met my fiance and my husband, got married early in my life. We actually started a business together. We started a lawn care business. Can you imagine me pulling weeds, mowing? Like,
I can't actually imagine.
My lines were straight.
Yeah.
So I have that sort of unique start in my life where we ran a business together for 7 years. I went to college when I was 24, played softball. But my experience, like, I never expected it to change me and shape me the way it did. And so by the time I was like a junior, senior, I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? And I loved the college athletic environment. So I started to think about coaching, athletic training, administration. I started off in coaching. And so I coached for 3 years, and then there was an opportunity to slide into an administrative role when my alma mater was going Division II. So I became the first like full-time administrator, compliance, business, everything else because
Yeah.
I really was the only administrator. So it gave me an opportunity to learn college athletics, touching a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And then I had the opportunity a couple years later to slide into the AD role.
That's
And
incredible.
then from there, 17 years later,
Yeah.
here I am.
Yeah.
So it's not your traditional path, but it would spawn from a sense of like calling, impact. I want to make a difference. And because it had made such an impact on me and shaped me and I grew my leadership skills, built confidence, made lifelong friends.
Yeah.
I wanted to help, other student athletes have that experience and have it at the highest level.
Yeah,
So.
that's incredible. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That was such a cool journey too. It's amazing how no matter what turn we make in life, it feels like we land where we're supposed to with that sense of purpose and just again, tying you and I together on this, like my passion for service and your passion for helping folks find their purpose. It's just like those mesh perfectly well.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
Like what is your absolute most favorite part about what you get to do every day?
Wow, there's a lot. My most favorite part is seeing people grow, and in particular student athletes. And I think at Division II, we get to know our student athletes. We get to know where they come from. We get to know their personalities. I get to hear a little bit about their aspirations. At some point I'm going to ask, so what are you thinking? What do you want to do? And just to see them evolve and grow over their 4 years or however long we have them, to me is the most impactful. But I also get to experience that with administrative staff or coaches. And so just to be a part of really watching the magic. I don't necessarily have, the direct contact with student athletes, but being just a little bit a part of their journey and knowing that, if I can help them, launch into their careers or anything, or just help mentor them in any way, or just let them know that I'm, behind them and I believe in them, just to see what they go on to do later is really cool.
It is. That is really.
Yeah. How about you?
Oh man.
What's your favorite part?
My favorite part is just the people that we work with. I think that it truly takes a village to create this opportunity. So I feel so privileged to just have a tiny little piece in the big puzzle that goes together for creating the student athlete experience. But my favorite part is, of course, working with the student athletes. Just, again, to your point, like I get to see them come in as freshmen who are like deer in headlights, and then watching them blossom into these incredible leaders within their team, within our campus community. So it's just truly seeing them also, this might sound a little weird, but like seeing them struggle and get through it. And experience that growth, because I truly believe growth is just discomfort in disguise. And so seeing them kind of go through that and come out on the other side just a better, more confident version of themselves. And of course, like my favorite day is the day I get to release their diplomas and graduation day, right? Like the day I get to send the email that says, congratulations, you're now a UIndy graduate, and just knowing their story and how they started out here to where they're landing and what's next for them. So that's truly just like, again, it's such an honor and a privilege to be a part of that journey for them.
Yeah, no, I think our work is so impactful, but it has to drive from purpose, and because there are hard days too, right?
Yeah.
And I know going through the pandemic, back in 20 through 22-ish, I think that really caused me to assess and look internally, because it kind of got taken away from us, where we couldn't, fully operate and watch our student athletes in their sport. We had to kind of pull back like everybody else in the world. But that was a moment for me where I sort of cemented, okay, why do I get up every morning? What is this about? And I've tried to hold on to that. I've also tried to impart that with young people, what gets you up every morning? And so then you and I were talking earlier, and I thought this would be a great segue maybe, but what would we do if we didn't work in athletics?
Oh my gosh. Well, I would probably be dirtbagging around in a van with my dog somewhere.
I'm picturing like a Volkswagen van.
Yeah, I mean, see, I'm definitely more
You're a
interested in the
glamping
Ford
kind of person.
Transit,
Okay.
like actually full conversion van
Okay.
kind of situation with like actual like shower and stuff in
Okay.
it. And probably be like doing some sort of service on public lands, honestly, like volunteering with either the National Park Service or Forest Service
makes
or
perfect
the
sense.
Bureau of Land Management. But just somewhere out there that's doing a service to provide access for other folks. And so that's, I mean, probably that tracks.
That makes,
I know what
that
I would do.
aligns, I can see it.
Yeah. What about you?
You know, I think I would go 2 different routes. Okay, I haven't decided because I'm not there.
Yeah.
I'm not even close. I would either work in nonprofit, like find a cause, you know, whether it be, you know, some type of, you know, serving people, homeless people, or anything like that. Something like that would get me going. I would need some type of purpose. The sort of retirement down the road thing, maybe get into like consulting. I know it's sort of a obvious transition, but I think I enjoy pouring into the next generation.
Yeah.
Because people have done that for me, right? So I find myself pulled a little bit in that direction when I can get involved with any kind of mentoring program and just, and I always actually learn from them. It's not me imparting my wisdom or anything, but that's where I think I could see myself transitioning down the road, is maybe getting into consulting and just figuring out where I can help other people, right?
That's, I think, the big tie, right? It's
Yeah.
just how can you help somebody else and provide opportunity and access, and yeah, I love that. That's incredible. I can absolutely see you doing that too.
So one thing that nobody would ever guess that, you know, from your colleagues down the hallway, tell me one thing that is unique about you that nobody would ever guess, whether it's a hobby or something from your childhood or background.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have one. I love Celine Dion.
Oh my gosh.
I am a huge Celine Dion fan, huge music fan in general.
Okay.
But for her, like, you will find me if you were walking down my road at times with my curtains open and me and my dog just hanging out in the living room, full blast, belting out Celine Dion songs. That kind of fan.
You can carry that tune.
No, not these days.
Okay, so you just like to
I mean, I don't
get into the music.
I don't do poorly. Like, I have a fairly, like, a decent voice. Like, I can do a karaoke. Would I say that I would do Celine Dion justice? Absolutely no one does. But yeah, that's something that I would imagine no one at this place at UIndy community would know about me, is that I'm a huge Celine Dion fan. I've seen her twice in concert, in her last concert tour that she went before she had to take a break. Very proud moment for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And she's Canadian.
Yeah, she is,
and
indeed.
she's amazing. Like, she's a legend.
Yeah, super legend. All those divas. I just think about, like, being a kid and watching VH1 Divas. Probably nobody that's going to see this will know what that is. But yeah.
I remember VH1.
Yeah,
And
so
MTV
good.
was a thing.
Yeah.
A different thing.
Very different thing. But what about you? What is one thing that people here do not know about Kim Pate?
Okay. So, I hate to go sport on you because that wouldn't surprise you, right? But the sport I'm going to mention, like, my passion for sport, like, what drove my dreams as a child around sport was hockey.
Yeah.
Okay, so I grew up, I don't remember learning how to skate. In Canada, you just skate. It's just part of, like, outdoor recreation in the winter. So I have this, like, I would love to figure out, like, if I had the time and my body could still do it. Don't know if it could. My mind says I could. I would love to play, like, on a just a rec hockey league, like, and just I love skating. The smell of the ice, the feel of the ice, like, all of that goes all the way back to my childhood. And my like childhood dream was to be like an Olympic women's hockey player for Team Canada, right? So so there are ice rinks around here.
Yeah.
There are leagues.
There are, yeah. A friend of mine actually plays on one.
My husband plays, like, in adult baseball. He's going to actually, I think, already our baseball coach has already got him hooked up. So he's super excited about this. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, could I pick up hockey in the summer? Maybe when I'm not as busy.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you would guess that, but I love skating.
I love that so much. And if you do join a rec league, please, I think that we should all come and watch and support you as your biggest fans. That would be incredible. I love that.
So quick story about hockey skating. Living in North Carolina, there's not a lot of ice, and so but they would bring in a rink in Asheville in the Civic Center, so it's about an hour away. We would go, and I would get called down over the loudspeaker. The lady in the red sweatshirt, please stop speed skating. I was like, oh my, how embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, I hope I didn't take out any kids or anything.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I have not ice skated much. But I mean, I can do it. I rollerbladed back in the day, but probably I can't skate backwards. I don't know how people do it. I don't know if it's a coordination thing, but I imagine that you can speed skate backwards also.
Yeah. It's something I remember doing well, but we'll see.
Okay, you got to do this.
How about we do a staff ice skating outing?
I would love that.
That would be fun, right?
It would. I wonder who's going to need the cone.
Okay. Yeah.
It might be me.
or the little chair you push or something.
Yeah. I mean, truly, it might be me.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. I'm down. I am down. So let's go. You hockey is super passion, and so you played softball in college. What position did you play?
You got to guess.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was a catcher, and I want to say catcher, but I don't think that's right.
No.
I think pitcher.
Early on, yes, but by 9th grade, I was like, no, that's not for me. Yeah. I was a second baseman.
Okay.
And I would say middle infielder.
Yeah.
But in college, I played second base.
That's
all
excellent.
4 years.
That's excellent. What is your most memorable game or play as a student athlete in college?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is not going to be pretty, but I remember being at UVA Wise, which is Division II in the South Atlantic Conference now. But I was, I was turning a double play in a close game. It was always a contentious game with this team, and the girl who was sliding in a second took me out, spikes up, and cleated me, and I had this horrible gash in my leg where I ended up having to go to the emergency room and get stitches.
Oh my gosh.
So that's not the best memory, okay, but I remember that because I never wanted to be out 1 inning, 1 minute, and it took me out for a little bit, so just overcoming that experience. But it helps me think of athletes and what they go through when I see them on crutches or in boots or anything like that. And I'm like, okay, I can relate to what you've been through.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah.
But my best experiences were the trips. We always would do a spring break trip, and I think of our softball team headed down to Claremont, Florida 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now, yeah.
So many great memories where we would, just as a team, we would do the craziest things, and I'm not gonna divulge some of the stuff we did, but just so many great memories on the road.
Absolutely, it is. That just camaraderie that exists within a team is just so powerful and everlasting, right? And shapes parts of who we are today.
Yeah. So one of the things that I get asked, and I have been asked since I became an AD or just working in college athletics, is tying my gender, female, to AD. And obviously our industry has been predominantly led by male representatives, ADs. So I think 24% of all ADs are female across NCAA athletics. So it's not a surprise when I get that question, but how have you navigated being a female in a leadership role? Obviously, not only are you doing advising, but you're also a senior women administrator. You're involved at the conference level and the national level. How has that been for you?
I think that, throughout the course, and I think about from my student athlete experience to where we are now in sports in general and women in leadership roles, I think we've seen such a huge huge increase in that, which has been incredible, right?
Yeah.
Like from the time then to thinking about now, honestly, I feel empowered. And whenever I first came into the senior woman administrator role and being able to like have a seat at those leadership meetings, at administrative meetings, at conference meetings, NCAA, I think that it was that moment of like, you belong at this table, right? And so it was like, just knowing everyone that had come before me, like our very own Dr. Sue Willey, like everything that she did to trailblaze and create those seats at the table for women. So I just, you know, got right in there and felt I belong here. And no one's going to prove me.
That is a special moment when you realize that. I was speaking to a high school group about National Girls and Women's Sport Day. So of course I was reflecting on being a female in a leadership role. And one of the things I pulled from was my youth in remembering, of course I played hockey, right? So you can picture this. In Canada, when snow hits, the roads are white from like December until March or April, right? They don't really thaw. So we would play street hockey. And so it's the pickup, right, in the neighborhood. I remember when I eclipsed that moment where I was picked, you know, as one of the first to be on somebody's team, and my gender didn't matter. I was just, it was all about my performance and what I could contribute. And so I have taken that into my career, where I eliminated the gender factor, and I just focused on being the best I could be in my role. And so it wasn't an issue for me. I didn't let it be a barrier. But it was about feeling like I belonged and not limiting myself or allowing anyone else to do that. And that was a critical moment for me where, you know, when you don't maybe see a lot of representation, having the confidence to know you belong at the table was huge for me in my journey. But it stemmed for me from realizing, hey, I just want to be picked because I'm good, not because I can contribute, not because of my gender. It shouldn't matter.
It's how you fill that seat at the table too.
Okay, I'm trying to remember your sport.
So I played softball.
As
well.
And you were a catcher. Okay,
I was a catcher. I was a catcher. So that.
And tell me about your athletic prowess and experience a little bit.
Oh man, basketball was my first love.
Okay.
Like, I was that kid that was playing pickup at recess with the boys from the time I was like 6 years old until, you know, through middle school. And found softball a couple of years after that. So found softball at like 7, 8, and started playing in Portage Junior Miss, and found out I was pretty good at that. But with basketball, it was just like, this is my jam. But then it turns out like at 5'3", it can be a little bit challenging. So I actually was recruited by a couple of like mid-major D1s, and then D1 for softball. I went to Butler University here in Indianapolis. And the biggest things for me that it came down to were what are going to be the academic opportunities, because I was pretty high achieving in high school, like really focused on kind of changing the direction of my life. And providing myself with the best opportunity for success after graduation. So I was like, okay, I can look at some of these programs. I landed on Butler because of the academic component and because I was going to be able to come in and make a pretty, like, an immediate impact and as a starter on the softball team. Awesome. But yeah, catching is obviously super biased here, but it's like the best position because you get to be involved in every single play. You get a full view of the entire field, and you get to be kind of that, like a nucleus of everything that's going on the field. So just being there, you know, one of my most favorite things to do as a catcher is, as a catcher at that time, because I'm certainly not catching these days with these knees, but was when your team's rattled and being able to call timeout, pull a huddle in, and literally cracking a joke or talking about anything unrelated to softball, and just kind of letting everybody take that breath, bringing it back together, breaking the huddle, resetting, and just not forgetting that it's a game and it is supposed to be fun. Even though there's so many incredible other things that come out of it, we all started doing these things because we loved it, right? Because it was fun. And so just making sure that we don't forget the fun, and that's even in like what we do now. It's like, man, we can't ever forget that this is we get to have fun with this too.
We get to do this
because we are so privileged in what we get to do and the impact we get to make. So let's make sure that we have a little bit of fun with it, because fun makes everything better.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I am going to be looking for the catcher in you in our leadership meetings.
Oh no, I just did that to myself. Dang.
No, I love it. I invite it. So I look forward to seeing you pull us together when we need that, because those moments come.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. I know we probably need to get back to work, right? Get back to our day jobs. Yeah. But I think just recognizing how sport translates to life and the leadership and seeing it in our own lives and our own work, I think is so impactful when you think of back to the student athlete and watching them grow and how we can have a little bit of an impact on them in this very pivotal time in their life.
Absolutely. I would certainly agree. It's my why.
Yeah.
It is my why. It's why I get up and I come here every day, just to know that I get to be a small, tiny piece of their journey and seeing them come to that potential.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad we sat down and I got to know so much more about you.
Same.
And we should do this more often.
I love it. I'm down. Let's go.
Next time we're doing coffee or something.
Coffee, for sure.
Perfect.
All right.
Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you.